Hey everyone. Um, Today I'm going to show you one of the cavalry tactics that I'm going to use this weekend. I'm going to a tournament here in Denmark and I'm bringing cavalry for that tournament. Um, and it was a tactic that came up in my um, now slightly old video about cavalry tactics. It's called herding tanks. And to illustrate this, I have a little scenario that I'm going to show you here on YouTube. So let me just flip my screen down. Right. That should be it. You should be able to see it now. Now, what I have here is a little section of the battlefield. This is actually my usual game table, which is slightly dirty right now. We have an American tank that's moved up here. It has shot at something. It has an auto dice, an advanced auto dice. And we have some obstacle here. In this case, we have a linear obstacle, hard cover, because it's a wall. And it's a little bit shorter than my cavalrymen, which are on the other side here. This is my Cossack cavalrymen right now fighting in my UPA army. And there is an objective down here. It doesn't need to be an objective here for this the purpose of this demonstration, but it's an extra thing. Now, this tank, because I have a cavalry unit close to it, I can now start to dominate what it can and cannot do. That is called herding tanks. So, like a sheepdog, I will now herd this tank in a specific direction. So, what I'll do is, once I get my order dice, I will give this cavalry unit a run order. Let me just flip it to a run. You can't see this, but just for my own sake, I'll declare a run. What I then do is I measure around the tank, putting myself 1 inch from the tank so that I don't break the cohesion rules. Like that. That is, now I have surrounded the tank. So, next turn comes up. What can that tank now actually do? That is the herding part. It is now very, very limited in its choices because it cannot turn on the spot. It cannot do an advance order right now because if it does an advance order where it turns, it's going to be within 1 inch of me. Can't do that. So it can't turn anymore. It can't turn and move on to that objective over here because it can't break the rule about not getting within 1 inch of enemy units. It could retreat, so it could drive a little bit back with an advance order, then shoot at my cavalry. Okay, that could happen. Then what my cavalry will do, because at that point we're in a new turn, my cavalry will then get an escape move and move into hard cover. So now the tank is shooting at me with hard cover. Possibly I can even move out of line of sight of the front guns so that he can't even shoot me with his machine guns, his hull mounted machine gun here at the front. So the advance is not a very good option for this tank here, simply because it doesn't really do anything for the tank. What else could it do? Well, it could try to shoot me, but since I am cavalry, I can just, as soon as it shoots, I can move. If I want to avoid the front gun, I can move down here, or I could do the escape move again over behind the hard cover, again getting out of the front arc of the gun. So that will mean that it can shoot me with the turret, but it can't shoot me with the main gun, and I suddenly have hard cover. So that's not an ideal option, but it is an option. So that was an advance, and that was a fire order. It could go on ambush. Ambush is actually quite a good order here, but what I'll do then is I will also go on ambush. And if the tank declares that it will shoot once we get to the end phase, I will immediately escape move, because you can go to an escape move from ambush on cavalry. So this tank is effectively, by just having 6 regular dudes on horsebacks, it's effectively locked down. It can't change its facing anymore. It cannot move in either direction. Um, it, its shots are going to be extremely ineffective against the unit blocking it. What it can do, though, is it can declare an assault, a run order against my unit here. But what that will do is it will move my men out of line. The tank will advance, will run up. I'll have to take the morale test to get out of the tank's way, but well, I'm pretty likely to get that. So it's not that massive a deal, and and well, that's pretty much what the tank can do. Otherwise, it's completely locked down. It's it's very, very hard to get out of one of these traps that this cavalry has set. Um, if you want the tank to be able to move forward but not backwards, you could place your cavalry around the back. This means the tank can now not back up. The front machine guns cannot affect these guys. It's only the turret that can shoot them now, and the tank can only move forward. Oh yes, once it gets out, it can turn. So that is less effective. The most effective is to have the cavalry in front, because if you back up, you're unable to turn. And so let's imagine that the tank backs up here. I escape move behind the hard cover. Most likely I may lose one guy or get a pin, but most likely nothing happens, because suddenly I'm in hard cover and the tank has moved, and so it's going to need 5s or 6s to hit, depending on whether I'm inside of short range here. Now, next turn comes up. We pick up the order dice. If I get the first order die, I can do more or less the same again. I can move up and make sure that the tank doesn't move again. Is this a good idea? Well, not exactly, because now if I move up before the tank has moved, the tank can now shoot me. So what I do instead is, if I have escape moved, the next turn comes up, then I will wait for the tank to do something, and it might make a turn, drive up here, whatever, and then I will hurt it again. I will immediately move up around it, blocking its exit route, and every turn that tank spends wasting time trying to get out from my men here is just great. It can even be done a little bit easier than this. Let me just show you. So you don't have to have large units of cavalry to do this. You can do this with just a few guys. So let me remove here. And let's imagine that I just have my officer, my lieutenant, mounted on horseback with a helper here. A tank has moved up. Now, I want to make sure that that tank doesn't turn. What I do is I place him with the side to the tank 1 inch exactly from the tank. Can the tank now turn? No. The correct answer is no. It cannot turn, because if it turns, you have to turn on the center here. That edge, that front edge, is now going to go within 1 inch of my lieutenant, and he can't do that. So you can, even just by placing one dude, you can prevent the tank from turning. This, of course, is even better, because now I'm a small team, so if the tank shoots me, I'll immediately recce. I'm a small team, it has possibly moved, whatever, and I'm in hard cover. It's going to have a difficult time killing me. So, yeah, that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you herd tanks. And I'm going to try to do this weekend, which will be interesting, because I'm bringing 2 cavalry units of regulars, skirmish cavalry. Go and watch my video on cavalry. Skirmish cavalry, 2 of those, and 1 mounted lieutenant. That is what I'm bringing. So I'm going to do a lot of this herding tanks this weekend. It'll be interesting. And yeah, that was herding tanks. Cheers.